Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by Jeff Sott of Las Vegas Sports Services and world champion handicapper Jim Fice. We're going to take a look at Week 5 of the NFL. But first, guys, a lot of promos coming up. Everybody's been red hot. Jim, you have had a sensational 10-1 Sunday, part of a 40-16-1 run. Tell us about that crystal ball and how folks can get aboard.
Right now, the crystal ball it's very clear. You look in there, and all the winners just pop right up. It's been a lot of fun, John. Winning Saturday off, and the monster Sunday, 10-1, 40-16. That's hard to believe. I got to say that again. 40-16. That's unreal. And even the dog pounder Zeus, my picker, my dog pounder, he's 4-0. This week I got a TV game of the month winner. Well, I had last week, on the Broncos, 6-1 with the totals. That's 16-6 in the NFL totals in 2013. I got a very big special play through Monday night. That's right, through Monday night, starting now for $29, and that includes my conference parlay of the year on Saturday and my NFL blowout game of the year on Sunday. My first NFL game of the year, that's right, this is a big one. That marquee NFL game is $100 right now online, but it's included in this package, this 5-day offer for $29. Just call 1-866-841-1655.
All right, and Jeff Sott of Las Vegas Sports Services, another winning Saturday in college football, including that Pac-12 game of the year. Tell everyone what's in tap for this weekend.
Yeah, the last 3 Saturdays in college football, I'm 11-4-1, including that Pac-12 game of the year winner. I won my blockbuster in the NFL last week, second week in a row. It was the Browns over the Bengals. That's my top play was a blockbuster. Now you can play through Monday night for only $19. You're going to get a pair of conference games of the month on Saturday in college football, plus my NFL shocker of the year on Sunday. And if you sign up early, you'll get a football release tonight. So just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. You're going to play through Monday for $19, including 2 conference games of the month on Saturday and my NFL shocker game of the year on Sunday. 1-866-575-8916.
All right, guys, our Twitter question of the week. This is how you out there can get involved, just by going to Proline Facebook at Proline TV or Twitter at Jim Fice Sports. And, guys, one of the callers out there wants to know about Frank Knight of Boca Raton, Florida. What team was stuck with the worst NFL quarterback this weekend? Jim, who's the worst in the NFL?
Who's the worst quarterback in the NFL? Boy, there are some really bad ones. Jacksonville, of course, doesn't have anybody. There's a guy out in Oakland been collecting a paycheck for the last couple of years, and his name is Flynn. And he's got, other than that one great game he played for Green Bay as a backup role a couple of years ago, this guy has done absolutely nothing. He does know how to collect a paycheck. Hats off to him for that. But he doesn't perform very well on the field. Now, as far as, there's some bad quarterback play in the NFC East with Vic and Eli Manning and stuff, but that's more, a condition of the fact that they don't have many players around them. Offensive lines are very weak. And there's no quarterback that's going to produce without a great offensive line, at least not in the long run.
I thought you were going to talk about Jamarcus Russell cashing a paycheck. I'm sure he still is. Jeff, who do you see as the best or the worst?
Well, looking at last weekend's games, we had several quarterbacks had bad days. Some of them, like Joe Flacco, they're already proven quarterbacks, just had a bad day. Then we had others that made rookie mistakes, like Geno Smith and Mike Glennon. But the absolute worst performance of the weekend, I'm prejudiced because I had the Texans, but Matt Schaub. It's just absolutely ridiculous for him to throw an essentially blind pass in that situation. I know they should have run the ball in the first place. If they run the ball, they either get a first down or they use more time off the clock, or Seattle would use another timeout. But to throw a pass in that situation is just ridiculous, and he's done it before this year. That makes it even worse. And he's an experienced quarterback. He's no rookie. So my vote for the worst quarterback last weekend would be Matt Schaub.
Okay, guys, well, let's get to our first game. And speaking of the Seahawks, that'll be the first game. Seahawks playing at the Colts. You get a 4-0 straight up an ATS Seattle Seahawks team, and they're a road favorite here. This team used to not be very good on the road, but all of a sudden they're covering road games, 6-0 ATS on the road. They're a 2.5-point favorite at the Colts, who were a playoff team last year, 43.5. You got Russell Wilson and Andrew Luck. Jim, is this going to be an offensive show, or are these defenses better than people expect?
Well, I don't think anybody really thinks that the Seahawks defense is not good. I mean, it might be the best in the league, actually. And this is a league where it's very difficult to play defense because all the rules favor the offensive teams. And you can't tackle anybody high, you can't tackle them low, you can't touch the wide receivers, and God forbid you ever hit a quarterback. So, I mean, it's very difficult to play good defense. But when you look at the size and the speed of this defense that Seattle has, as far as I'm concerned, they're the best defense in football. Offensively, I'm not going to say they struggle, but they're so conservative in the way they play offense that typically they are not a high-scoring club. On the other side, the Colts did a hell of a job the last couple of weeks. They go on the road twice. They go out to San Francisco, and they just annihilated the 49ers, and they played very physical football. And a lot of people thought they were going to have a big letdown going cross-country to Jacksonville, and then they annihilated them as well. And now Jacksonville is like playing a mediocre college team. So performance-wise, talent to talent, that doesn't show much. But it was a clear letdown spot for the Colts, especially with the Seahawks coming in the following week. But they didn't let down. They kept the pace up. They played very well, annihilated them, and now they come home to the Seahawks. It's a big game for them. It's a statement game for the Colts. It's not so much of a statement game for the Seahawks. And quite frankly, as Jeff pointed out, the Houston Texans got up big last week, and they just gave that game away. Seattle should have lost that football game. Maybe that was a flat spot for them. Obviously, they did not play very well, and Matt Schaub really helped them out.
Jim, are you implying that Bucknell University might be able to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I don't know if I'd go down to Bucknell's level, but I'll say that maybe maybe you could get well, yeah, you could maybe obviously college teams would have trouble. A MAC team, would have trouble against the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, because all your pro players are still pros. I mean, they're all big guys, fast guys, and they all have a lot of talent. And they came from colleges and they're the best of the colleges, so they're really not going to lose to too many college teams. But they look awfully bad, and they have no talent. And I mean, talent at the pro level, they don't have much. And so I don't know where they're going to go from here.
Well, maybe Tim Tebow can come in. All right, Jeff, going back to the Seahawks-Colts game, Seattle, when they play a winning team, they're 14-3 against the spread. They really get up. Can the Colts get up for this one at home?
I'm sure they'll get up for it. This game, for me, is too close to call. Pete Carroll is an excellent coach, but he's also got to be one of the luckiest coaches I've ever seen. Think of what's happened in the last few years. His first season, he finishes under 500, still makes the playoffs. He wins that game last year with a replacement referee. He wins games like last week when the opposing quarterback has a meltdown. The guy just seems to have a lucky streak going in him, and it's hard to bet against somebody like that. They're 6-0 against the spread on the road, last 6 road games, 10-1 the last 11 games overall against the number. They went to Carolina the first week of the season. People thought, it's the West Coast going to the East Coast, you better go against them, but they pulled that game out. Then they played the Texans last week, and they pulled that game out somehow, even though they shouldn't have. So this is probably the best defense Andrew Luck's faced this year, especially the best pass defense. So I'm not going to bet this game. I think it's too close to call. You have the Lions anywhere between 1.5 to 3, depending on the book. So if I was forced to take a play, I would take the Seahawks just simply because they just seem to get the breaks every week. But this is not one game I'm going to bet this week, John.
Yeah, and if you like to play totals, keep in mind the Colts 22-8 run under the total, and at home, this may surprise you, they're a 12-3 run under the total. Okay, Jim, let's get to this last game here. The Broncos are playing the Cowboys, and what we've seen is line movement right away on Denver, which seems to be a regular pace now, 5.5 up to 7. Is everybody going to keep betting the Broncos in the over until that changes?
I think so, John. And why not? I mean, Peyton Manning is unstoppable. 16 touchdowns, no picks. That's an unheard of number. I've never heard that before. The Cowboys are a decent team. They're 2-2, 3-1 ATS, but quite frankly, on defense, they have a lot of holes. They give up 500 yards to Phillip Rivers. I mean, Phillip Rivers, they're playing. San Diego's been playing very well. They've played well in every game so far this year. So I'm not surprised that San Diego gave them a hard time, but the Cowboy defense, especially against the pass, they're playing against the best passing team in football at the moment. And Peyton is, I don't know if Peyton Manning's the best quarterback that's ever played the game, but he absolutely is the smartest quarterback that's ever played the game. This guy, he's his own coach. I mean, he just knows, he works harder than everybody else. He knows every player, every instinct, every defense. He calls all his, I mean, he works with a coach, of course, but he's amazing. He really is amazing. Tony Romo, who gets a lot of bad press, is actually having a good season. Tony Romo is not a Peyton Manning. He's not a Tom Brady, but he's a very good quarterback. And given the right tools and a decent running game, which they do have now, he can do a lot of damage. He's having a pretty good year. And I could say this is going to be a war, but you asked me about the line. Yes, people are going to bet Denver, and they're going to bet the over. And I think you'll see some sharps come in and take 7.5. When as it crosses to 7.5, you're going to see people taking that. But, you got to remember something. And as a gambler, people talk about value, finding value. And if you have 1,000 plays and you find the value side 1,000 times, you're going to win more money than you lose. But when you take individual situations, and there's only a one-game situation, each game is one game, and you get a situation like this, Denver has such a hot hand right now, offensively, and their defense is playing pretty well. It's so hard to step in front of a freight train like this. Until this guy starts to have some drop passes or gets banged up a little bit or gets an offensive line injury that they can't quite replace quickly, it's hard to get in front of a guy like this. I mean, it's actually foolish for me to tell anybody, bet Dallas this week. And they're going to say to me, are you out of your mind? You're betting against Peyton Manning and the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, I couldn't do that. I can't, I'm not saying right here now to bet Denver. What I'm saying is I cannot step in front of, and it's a ridiculous line. Dallas is a 7-point home underdog and might go to 7.5. Is a crazy line. But Denver is the kind of team that you need to make 7 over or more over everybody right now.
Yeah, Jeff, this Dallas Cowboy team made some coaching changes, bringing in Monty Kiffin. Here they are, 2-2 straight up, 3-1 against the number. Did they make enough changes to please Jerry Jones, or are they still a sloppy and undisciplined, erratic team?
Well, they're definitely a better team, but they still have problems with the offensive line. As far as the Broncos are concerned, this looks like they look like the 2007 Patriots, where they just blew out everybody the first 10 games of the season. And as Jim said, how can you go against that? The total is 56, though, and that's a reasonable number these days. See, the Broncos 4-0 against the spread, 7-1-1 against the number of the last 9 games overall. They've won 15 regular season games in a row. At the beginning of the season, people were concerned about the Broncos because they had some injuries and they had the suspensions, especially to Von Miller. It hasn't even phased them. The rest of the team has stepped up, and they haven't even noticed any injuries or problems there. The one thing, though, the 4 teams that Denver has played, the record is only 4-12. That's the only thing you might want to think about here. They haven't really played a tough schedule. Tony Romo, as Jim said, has been good this year, although not many have noticed. He's thrown 8 TD passes, just 1 interception, completed 72% of his passes. The Cowboys are 3-10 against the spread last 13 home games, but they have covered the last 4 games when getting at least 6 points. Denver's 26th in the league in defense, Dallas 21st. I'm going to go with the over in this game. 50, I know it's a high number, but these days 56 is not out of the question. So I'll take the Broncos and Cowboys to go over the total this week, John.
And another total trend that supports what you're looking at, Denver 42-17-1 over the total. And after they blow out a team by 14 or more points, they're 8-0-1 over the total the next game. All right, guys, let's talk about some of the offers we have this weekend. Jeff, you have your first NFL game of the year coming up this weekend. How can folks get aboard for that and a big weekend?
Yeah, we're going to play all the way through Monday night. So you're going to get 2 college conference games of the month on Saturday. You're going to get my NFL Shocker of the Year on Sunday. If you call early, you're going to get an early football release tonight. Just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. You're going to get all that for only $19. That's 1-866-575-8916.
And Jim, the numbers really say it all. 40-16-1 football run, 10-1 in the NFL last weekend. You are the big M this week. Money, money, money. How can folks get aboard?
Well, more money week. More money weekend, more money weekend. Whoa, more money. Conference parlay of the year goes Saturday. My NFL blowout game of the year goes on Sunday. My first NFL game of the year. The marquee NFL games are $100 online. Now, this whole offer is 5 days of play, right through Monday, $29. And as John told you, have 40 and 16. It's almost unbelievable to even say that. 10-1 in the NFL last week. The 16-6 in the NFL totals. The dogs that Zeus picks every week are 4-0. You just call 1-866-841-1655. $29. 5 big days of plays. And Jeff has pretty much the same offer for $19. So for a little bit of money, $48, you can have 2 guys for the whole weekend. And the way we've been winning, I suggest that would be a good investment.
And remember, Dave Colquitt has his college upset game of the year going this weekend. It's $99 online, but you can get it for $49 with some bonus plays by calling 1-866-896-1629. That'll do it for the NFL edition of Proline. Make sure you check out the college edition, too. For Jeff Saad, Jim Feist, I'm John Creighton from Las Vegas. Good luck with the games, everyone, and we'll see you next week.